favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio. In Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
Good morning. It's been a minute, but let me just say it one more time. Good morning and welcome to In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody could be a star. My name's Clinton Paris, and I am your host for Straight Up the Middle, your all things political show. On this show, we talk about the world from a political perspective, mainly because politics affects so much of our lives in a democracy, and I just want to welcome you in this morning. No matter wherever you are. I know we broadcast all over the world, everywhere in all the states, and I'm out of Tampa, Florida. We got a little bit of misty rain falling in, but it's supposed to clear out and become a nice spring day later on as we begin to wrap up spring break. It's kind of starting to wrap up, and everybody's came down to Florida and experienced our wonderful beaches and had a good time. Hopefully, I know they changed some of the rules for spring break this year. I saw where down in Miami, the parking rate was $100 to park your vehicle. Sure, that was a boom for the the Ubers and whatnot. But yeah, they raised a lot of the rates, had some curfews, just to get some control of things. Because I'm not so old to have forgotten how fun spring break used to be. But when I was at a younger age, it was really, really a college scene. Most of the people involved, engaged there were college students. And what made it controlled was we thought about our future. We were having a good time. We were partying and enjoying ourselves and, getting ready for that last push of the semester. But we also understood we had a future. So, there were some limitations as to how far during spring break we would go. And I think, in the words of a lot of college kids, when the locals showed up, and the locals are the people around town who didn't go off to college and not looking to get education, they don't really think and plan for their future, and so their risk tolerance is a lot higher, and of course the debauchery that comes along with that has changed spring break, I think, across the board. In fact, there was a documentary that dropped I think it was Thursday or Friday, about Freaknik. Now, I don't know where you are in America or where you were in the late 80s and early 90s, but Freaknik was a summer event in Atlanta. And as best as I can recall, it drifted from Daytona Beach. There was something called Black Beach Weekend in Daytona. And somehow it drifted from Daytona Beach to Atlanta. And it progressively got more and more out of control. It starts out as a Greek event. And it grows then into just a summer fest. And, Luther Campbell and his crew, showed up, and things just really got out of hand, though, because as Luther said, he was as nasty as he wanted to be. But those are some of the things and festive things from the past that I think have remnants in what we see now with spring break and stuff. But it's wrapping up. Spring break is wrapping up. And I was out last week for that very reason. Our studio and all the things that make this thing work, there was nobody here to make it work. So we took spring break off as well. And I'm happy to be back today to talk with you all about all these things that are happening around us at breakneck speed that are political in nature that we need to keep up with. It's so much. It's hard to get your hands around all of it. And so on Saturday mornings like this turns into a therapy session for me to shake off some of the stress and strain that comes with talking about and getting into some of the things that have happened. In a week's time, let me just go over a couple of things that have happened. The Biden administration seems to be stepping away from its unconditioned support of Israel and the assault on Gaza due to the humanitarian issue that is now unfolding in that area. And so they're calling for ceasefires and things of that nature, which Israel opposes, which is very, very unusual. Republicans, Democrats came together, made a deal on the budget, and promptly Marjorie Taylor Greene has come out and asked for the speakership to be vacated. She's already ready to get rid of the Speaker of the House. You've had Joe Biden, as Republicans would say, he came out of the basement. He's been hitting all the battleground states, giving speeches, making it clear, why you are better off now than you were 4 years ago, and starting to ramp up his campaign. The deadline for Donald Trump to turn in his money in the defamation case with E. Jean Carroll came, and he ponied up, almost $100 million in that case. But, excuse me, as we get near the deadline for him to pony up the money to appeal his ruling in New York City for fraud, Trump is out peddling. He sounds like a lot of preachers sound. He's up there in the pulpit begging for money. I think it's kind of rich to see billionaires begging people that work hourly wages for money to donate to their legal cause. I don't know how he convinces anyone to give him money, but he has. I just don't know how he does it. It's kind of like you see that midget with that, that smoke show walk by, and I don't know how he did that. I just don't know how he does it. But hey, I'm just happy it doesn't work on me. Because I'm not giving him my money. In fact, I'm not giving anybody any money for their legal issues so that you can burn it. Now, in the midst of all of that, yesterday you had an announcement come out that Truth Social is in the process of being merged with the media company. They're doing a special acquisition company to buy it up. And if it does happen this way, Trump will end up with about $3 billion in value related to Truth Social. Again, but he's asking other people to donate, money. Bells, this sounds crazy. It's one of the reasons I'm reluctant to buy tickets to go to major sporting events. It's just something about giving my hard-earned money to billionaires. I just have a visceral, response to it. I don't do it. I have a visceral response to it. But hey, he's making that happen. Then, of course, since we last talked, you've had the judge in the Atlanta election RICO case come out and say somebody's got to go. Either Fonnie Willis, you've got to go, or Mr. Wade, you've got to go. And Mr. Wade promptly took his $1 million in fees, I think, about what he's collected already, and he terminated the contract. He called it a day. And then you've got this argument circulating that there's a groundswell of black men now supporting Donald Trump. I haven't met any of them. I don't know any of them. New ones. I know some that were already, but I've not seen this disregard or displeasure with Trump, with Biden, to the extent that black men are flocking to Donald Trump. I know there's some polls out, and I checked the USA Today poll, and it said, they don't see those numbers going from black folks in Trump's favor. But that's just a smattering. That's a smattering of all the things that have been happening that can occupy our consciousness right now on the political scene. So wherever you are, this is a great time to get engaged, to see where your concerns and your expectations match up with our political dynamics. But before we dive off into that, I'm gonna take a little bit of a personal privilege today to talk about a very close loss. This week I lost one of my special cousins that lives down in Miami. Her name is Kalinda Yvette Dunn. And let me just talk about, the reason I'm talking about it is she was relatively young and she was a pastor of church, and at Bible study on, I think it's Tuesday night, she passed away, just collapsed and passed away. The suspicion is she had a heart attack, about 52 years old, relatively young lady. And you hear me talk about going to Fort Lauderdale, going to Miami. Well, I would visit with that part of my family, the Dunns down in Fort Lauderdale and Miami area. But she passed away, and she's going to be missed, and her family is reeling from this loss right now and just trying to come to grips with it. But I want to take a moment to say, do not take your health for granted. Be as diligent as you can about making sure that you listen to your body, that you take care of your body, that you get some exercise, that you get checkups and things of that nature, and just make sure that you're doing the little bit you can to be around here as long as you can. You may think that if we disagree politically, we disagree on the issues of the day, that means I wish ill will, and that is not the case. We need everybody pulling this wagon. We need everybody pulling this wagon up the hill. We need everyone healthy and engaged so that can be the case. But I just want to take a moment to say that we're going to miss Kalinda, and that, we'll remember all the wonderful and special things that she shared with us, what she gave to us, and that she embarked upon throughout her life, just to do what she was going to do. We oftentimes think we're just doing the thing that we're doing. You never know how things are affecting other people, how they're absorbing the stuff that you share. And it's just important that at all times we just appreciate the connectivity we have among all of us to do what we can to make all this world a better place. All right. So I just want to take a minute and share that with you. So I've kind of laid out the things that are on the table to be talked about. And since I'm in studio today by myself, hey, great time to call in. This is a great time, for you to call in, be a part of the show. If I've said something that you didn't like in the past, come on, get it off your chest. Let's get it behind you. If you have some thoughts you want to share about issues that are affecting our society, likewise, I want to hear from you. The call-in number is 813-444-9588. 813-444-9588. I love it when people call in. I love it even more so when people disagree with me. In particular, if you're one of those black men out there that you've drifted to now, hey, I'm going to be supporting Trump, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear you explain and share your thoughts as to how you arrived at that position. Or you believe that there's some other things that should be done that would impact our political situation more so, because this is a crazy time. It is absolutely crazy, and it's not until you go back and look at some other situations like the Civil War, World War II, or the 60s, you realize, man, we've had a rough road, to get to where we are. But it is a great time, though, to try to do some thoughts and analysis, and come on in here and get some of this therapy as we go through the show today, okay? All right, so we're going to take a break. Come back on the other side. We're going to dive into some of the political stuff that needs to be talked about. You're listening to In Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everybody could be a star. We'll be right back after this quick break.
In Touch Radio is smooth soul.
Rocking your radio on the sounds of soul.
Playing your favorite R&B. In Touch Radio. When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here-for-you.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-7425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio, Ryder could be a star. So I laid out a bunch of stuff. Look, black men supporting Trump. Fonnie Willis, Wade, now what? MTG has filed a motion to vacate the speakership. She wants some real Republican leadership is what I think that's what she said. The Truth Social merger that will add $3 billion, I think, to Donald Trump's net worth is about to go down. Just a lot of stuff out there I think that affects you. So if you want to call in, 813-444-9588. Let me just clean up this thing with Fonnie Willis and the prosecutor in Atlanta. The breadth of my disappointment in what that showed is cannot be overstated. She looked underwhelming when she came in that courtroom, out of control, very unprofessional. Then you've got the fact that she's even in this relationship to start with, and it takes two to tango. One of them should have had the judgment to say, "Not right now. Let's circle back to that later." We're all adults and whatnot. You had moments where you knew something was inappropriate, and somebody in that moment has to have the better judgment. I'll be shocked if this happens. If Wade comes out and sues the state attorney's office for harassment, that would be very rich. And then you've got Wade's friend, former colleague, former law partner, actually outing them with Trump's defense team. You can't make the level of unprofessionalism across the board is staggering for them involved in a case like this. But now that Wade is out, the question becomes, who does she get to prosecute the case? Can the case even be prosecuted in the Atlanta mindset, with the fact that they've muddied the water so much. And that has nothing to do with whether or not Donald Trump engaged in a conspiracy to overturn the election, which is what the underlying allegation is. But I've always taken the position we don't want to make political people. We don't want to have political prosecutions. My preference has always been to beat him at the ballot box. I think in 2016, certain people didn't take Trump serious, but in 2020 we did, and we beat him. And I think in 2024 he's going to get beaten again. And at that point in time, all those folks who have sold out their future and their legacy and their character and their values to be alongside Donald Trump, who are not in jail, will have to make some choices. Because every week somebody else goes to jail. Every week someone goes to jail associated with Donald Trump, and you don't see Donald Trump bailing them out. Donald Trump is out begging for money from people, but when Rudy Giuliani needed help with his case, Donald Trump didn't come through. So I think that case in Atlanta, the merits of the case remain very strong, but they've done a very good job of making it look so messy that nobody wants to get mixed up in it. And I don't know now where you go with that case. It makes, when you go after a guy like Donald Trump's like any kind of criminal operation, a mafia member. You put a hit on him and it's not successful, he comes out stronger on the other side. And if he's able to beat that situation back, he's going to be stronger for it. So hopefully Fani Willis can get a prosecutor in there that can put this case back together and get things back on track. We're prosecuting, but bigger than that, I think she needs to look in the mirror and think about, is she professional enough to handle a case of this nature? That to me is probably one of the most disappointing elements of that situation. So anyway, if you got some thoughts about what's happening in the Atlanta situation, give me a call. Let's move on to this other issue though that's kind of got my attention. I watch a lot of Fox News, a lot of Newsmax. I won't say I get into the fringes, but I like to hear what the other people are saying, what the other side's thinking, what their strategies are, as we go into some of the issues that we're dealing with. So I watch a lot of Fox News, and I try to pay attention to the mental gymnastics that they engage in to try to make themselves sound believable or credible, and they just echo back and forth to themselves. It's kind of like when you're watching a team that's a major underdog have a game against, when they're big time, underdogs, and they're in the locker room trying to convince themselves they really got a chance. Well, every now and again, as we see with March Madness, they do have a chance, but they're trying to convince themselves, and they're telling themselves, why they think they should be able to. That's kind of what I hear on Fox News. Fox News is going on and on about all the support for Donald Trump in the black community because he has criminal charges, because he's being treated unjustly. African Americans can identify with that. I think that's preposterous, and it is actually sad that that's the way they see the African American community. No one supports Donald Trump because he's being unjustly prosecuted. That's not it. Now, I don't know why, and I've not come to the answer. And I'm asking people, I'm asking you, if you're a black man who recently decided, hey, Trump's where I need to be. That's what I like. A guy that's, got several baby mamas, been married multiple times, he's got a porn star or two in the cut that he's thrown some money to, that cheats out on his, business partners, that lies every chance he gets, it flies around on jets, and it's condescending and evaded the draft. And I just don't know a redeeming quality that man has in his whole body. But, hey, if you've decided that's where you want to be, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that. I'm sure there's some folks out there. If you're one of those people, and not to say that I'm right or wrong, I would just love to hear the rationale. Now, it's one thing to say I don't like what Biden has done, and I specifically don't really have. There's a general disregard for, I think, people in the African American community from the majority. But I don't know that is a reason that you would follow behind a guy like Donald Trump. Anyway, we got a caller on the phone. Good morning, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, it's Carl the Trucker calling in. I missed out last weekend due to your gallivanting spring break.
Well, I wouldn't say the word gallivanting. I just wasn't, I wasn't in the seat. We were doing some other things in the community, and being productive. But glad to hear that you're listening in this morning. And the fact that you're calling in tells me that you're somewhere nice and safe. So good stuff. Listen, so are you happy that Wade decided to get out of be the one to step down, or would you rather have had Fonnie Willis step down from that case in Atlanta?
I wish Wade had stayed on it, because there was no controversy around him, just her, and because she was the DA, she will always be a target for something else. I mean, Trump pulled the same trick with Letitia up in New York, but there was nothing that he could find on her. So Wade Green probably would have been less target. Would have been a lesser target. So
now, have you heard anything?
Right.
Have you heard anything about who is going to replace Wade? Have they announced anything? I did a little looking around. Who's going to step into the case now? And let me ask you this: Would you support Fonnie Willis running for office again to remain as state attorney?
I mean, I don't see she did anything wrong or whatever. She just had a little hiccup there where there was
Whoa! What was her hiccup? No! You don't get to slide by now. What was the hiccup?
Okay, right. The hiccup was there. I'm sure any prosecuting attorney, you can find something in their past that they did or they didn't do. They did or they didn't do. And Trump attorney just dug deep and they found something. But there was no controversy. They just made it. They just made it an issue. There was nothing that she really did that would affect his case or affect his judgment. I mean, all her life was personal. If you take any prosecuting attorney, any DA, even some of the ones that even some of the police, they have some darkness in their life somewhere, and that's what happened. But she didn't do anything wrong. She didn't take the case. She didn't throw in no false evidence or nothing like that. Everything was factual.
You don't believe she hired Wade, so that he could take her on trips?
Wade was her last. She didn't have anybody else. She interviewed like 5 or 6 others, and they didn't want to take the case because the history with Trump. I mean, the threats and other stuff. So but that's why she picked Wade. It wasn't any monetary gain for her. There was no monetary gain. There was nothing. They couldn't find anything with her. It was just the fact that their relationship was close. They had a close relationship.
Well, they didn't have a close relationship, according to. See, that's part of the issue. She was like, "Hey, I just barely met the guy. I barely met the guy, and I just start handing him $1,000." Like,
right. Okay,
all right, look, here's what I need you to do, Carl. Can you hold on? Because I want to ask you about black men supporting Trump, and just hang on for a minute, okay? If you can do that for me. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody could be a star. We'll be right back after this quick message.
In Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
This is Attorney Clinton Parrish. Actions are beyond your control, but deciding who will represent you is your decision. If you've been injured, call me at the law office of Clinton Parrish for a free consultation. 813-413-7924. Offices Riverview.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
All right, we're back live with In Touch News Radio, reality radio. Everybody could be a star. Again, my name is Clinton Parrish, and I am happy to be your host today in the studio, kind of walking us through. I want to give a quick shout out to the show that follows my show at 11 a.m. this morning. Money Michelle is coming on, Michelle Blaylock. And here's the deal. In our society today, there's no doubt access to an education remains still the best route to improving your opportunities in life. And Michelle does a great job of connecting deserving students with funding sources, getting money to go to school. It is quite expensive, and it's tough putting kids through college. I'm on my second one, and I feel it, Brother Bill. I feel it. But you want the kids, to be able to fully embrace and enjoy college. A lot of kids go to college like I did, and they work their way through, and you miss out on a lot of developmental opportunities that could take you much further in life. So hang around if or get some pen and paper. Be ready to listen in to Michelle's show right here on this station after. She'll be immediately following my show. So, all right. So we got Trucker Carl on the line, holding on. We were just talking about this Fonnie Willis thing. Carl's he's an urban man. He knows his way around the Fulton, Cobb, and Decatur counties up in central Georgia. So he's a great person to find out what's going on in the ATL. The other thing I want to ask you about, Carl, is these allegations that black men are flocking to Donald Trump. Now, the only place I hear that really is on Fox News. I mean, I hear it on Fox News a lot. I mean, I'm getting it about at least 3 times a day. This incredible support Donald Trump is getting with black, men who understand being unjustly prosecuted through the legal system. Are you seeing or experiencing an increase of black men in your circles supporting Donald Trump, Carl?
Well, yeah. Well, my stepson, my wife's son.
Well, let's not out anybody. So, a person close to you.
Yeah. My wife. Well, I mean, he's a really nice guy. He has a little small business or whatever. He coaches with us here at LSC, and he says, under Trump, his business done a lot better for the tax break. Now and he has another job which he does, but he's just adamant about Trump is a better candidate he goes to, he says he's a much stronger president than the other presidents.
Got it.
Like,
Yeah.
he's dominant. He's very dominant. He's bold.
Right. Okay. So I mean, it's interesting. Why? But has he been a Trump supporter, or is he a new Trump supporter?
He's a new Trump supporter. I think he's a new Trump supporter.
You know, it's an interesting perspective in life. You know, people often want, I won't say blame, or they want to be rescued by other things than themselves. I don't know that, the direct correlation between, and I can see the dissatisfaction, but let me tell you, the dissatisfaction some people have with certain candidates, and so they make changes. But that's an interesting example that you just gave, though. So I appreciate that. So listen, Carl, before I have to let you go, what's on your mind this morning? That you have any questions? You want something? What do you want to talk about? I know I jumped in and hit you with a couple of my haymakers, but what's on your mind? What do you want? What's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, I just want to. The president, Joe Biden, I think he jumped on Netanyahu bandwagon too fast or whatever, and because this guy's always been a warmonger. He tried the same thing with Obama, with Iran, with our agreement for Iran to disarm their nuke weapons.
Uh-huh.
And so he made a pass at them. So I mean, this is his makeup. So he found a soft target to go at, and he did. But this might possibly hurt the president for the election because you got a lot of Jews, with our senator, what's our senator for minority leader, Chuck Schumer, minority Chuck Schumer.
Well, Schumer came out. Schumer came out, and he said, that Netanyahu he's an obstacle to peace. And see, behind this, people. So in a country's at war, people kind of focus on the war, and what behind the scenes people are kind of forgetting is Netanyahu is under indictment or being prosecuted for corruption in Israel. And so for him, the longer this dispute goes on in Gaza, in theory, people won't focus on his corruption case, and it can be halted. But I heard something yesterday from Jared Kushner, Carl, I thought was horrific. The question was, okay, you guys are bombing, Gaza, you're tearing up these buildings. Well, what about what's going to happen after the thing is over? And here's what Jared Kushner said. We should bulldoze the entire city and develop it because it's waterfront property. And if that doesn't speak to what the underlying thing this is about, stealing land, stealing you got, the Golan Heights, the West Bank, you've got the settlements that Israel has put into areas that were not part of Israel, and they basically taken those things. The hint here is that, look, when this is over, we're going to put some waterfront developments, on the coastline here for everybody to enjoy. I thought it was pretty low blow. So anyway, well, Carl, I want to thank you very much for listening as always. Thank you for calling in as always. And more than that, just be safe out there on the road. Okay, you have a great rest of your weekend, Carl.
Okay, my condolences to your cousins. Keep your head up.
All right, man. Appreciate it very much. Yeah. Tough one on that one, man. I appreciate it very much, Carl. We go through life and just battle our way through. So it's a tough one there. So, but with that being said, let's move on to think about how we get from where we are now to where we may want to be. And I'm going to say this about Joe Biden. I don't think he will be my favorite president of all time. but goodness gracious, he's way better than anything we got going. I was watching Robert Kennedy Jr. First, it's hard to listen to him, and I don't want to disparage the man because of his physical, the way he sounds. But he's just kind of kooky, and he's on Fox News regularly, which is quite interesting to me. I think they should be concerned at Fox News about siphoning off Trump voters supporting Kennedy. That's a huge risk that they're running by putting him on a regular basis. But we got one more segment to get to, so we're going to get to a break in a few minutes. And when we come back, here's what I want to talk about when we come back on the other side. Why people would give money to billionaires. I'm watching Trump beg for money. $5, $10, $25. Got Trump, Don Jr. out, can I get a couple bucks? $5, $10, $25. I think I saw a commercial advertisement, Lindsey Graham, $5, $15, $25, give money. And it sounded like what I hear watching some of these TV preachers begging for money. I mean, it sounded almost identical to what they do begging for money. And if I thought for a minute, think about this. Donald Trump's not going to pay that money in New York. He's not going to use that money. He's got other money that he can access. Like I just indicated, there's a potential merger of Truth Social that's in the air, that's floating around, that may come to fruition. And what I understand is there's something called a SPAC that's currently being circulated. That's a special acquisition company. And that's where a bunch of investors create a company for the sole purpose of buying another company and then taking it public. And that's what I understand is happening with Truth Social. It's crazy. But anyway, so we're going to take this last break, come back on the other side, kind of talk about how do hourly workers give money to billionaires. It's baffling to me. All right, so hang in there with us. Let's take this quick break. This is In Touch News Radio. We'll be right back after this quick break.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen or sundown 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-7425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RICK. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
When you've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
reality radio where anybody can be a star. It's interesting to me how we look at so many things from so many angles. I've always, some people say, well, you're just naturally cheap or tight, frugal. I like to say I'm broke. It's easy. So I've always been that way when people ask me for money. I've been that way as long as I can remember. I've just always, just been reluctant. I feel like I give a lot to people. I like to think I'm the kind of friend, you need a ride somewhere. You need a reference letter. You need somebody to show up at something or an event, or I like to think that I'm extremely reliable and supporting person. The one thing, though, I've always been reluctant at doing is handing out money. That's one thing I've always been reluctant at doing is handing out money, usually because I don't have it, but secondarily because rarely do I think money is the real problem. Usually there's another problem at hand, a bad habit, bad judgment, lack of planning, and I could just keep going on and on and on. And so handing someone money who has another type of flaw in how they operate is just not usually productive. So that's kind of how I think. So I've always been that way. I'm even more so that way when we don't have a personal relationship. I'm very more so that way when we don't have a personal relationship. Then we get into the issue of how we are in society. Like I told you, I struggle going to, let's say, a professional sporting event and buying tickets. I struggle with that because I see how much money they throw around, how much money they make, and I struggle handing them my money. Just the nature of the beast. I struggle with that. Now, I've got some nieces and nephews and things of that nature. I would like to think I'm a little more generous with them as they're going through school and what they need. And, my family, Bella, we have this, we grease young people. Your birthday come around, we grease you up. You're in school, we it's just customary. A little something get in your hand, that's just how it rolls. If you're a young person in my family, you're going to get a 20 here, a 10 there from various people along the way because we just know it's tough when you're young. Not having a couple bucks in your pocket and everybody stops at Starbucks or McDonald's and want to go to skating rink and you the one kid that you don't have your $250 to get in the skating rink. So but strangers and absolutely people that legs to be billionaires, you can't ask me for no money. You can't ask. Now I'm upset that you've even thought so little of me that you would expect me to take some hours out of my life where I went out and sacrificed to make a couple dollars, and I am supposed to hand that over to you while you get back on your jet, your mega jet, and fly wherever you can't do it. But Trump is out there shamelessly convincing people who really shouldn't be giving him money, who really shouldn't be thinking differently about how they spend their resources, without question. And the crazy part is he's not going to use it. He's going to keep it for himself. It is very difficult to collect on a judgment. The Trump properties are mortgaged to the hilt. The ability of the Attorney General to get those properties, it'll be a battle for years to come. Well into his candidacy, or if he wins his presidency, it'll be battling for years to collect that money because of the magnitude of ways and issues that come up. So I'm just stunned. There are people out there working, paying a mortgage, paying the lease on their car, vet bills on their animals, whatever it may be, and you're going to give some of that money to a person like Donald Trump. I just am, I'm floored by the idea that that's how our political system goes. The man has no conscience when it comes to grift, no conscience when it comes to manipulating a situation to get a couple extra dollars. Most people don't know we had a Trump lawsuit in Tampa. Trump was going to build a tower in Tampa. The Trump Towers right there by the river. I can't think of it. Boreen Street Bridge, somewhere in there. Took a bunch of people's money and didn't build it and fought for years. A lot of people lost their money. They lost a lot of money on those projects. Never built it. And I think that lot may still be, it may still be empty. It may not be. I don't know. But the grift is staggering to me. So I'm just baffled that there are people that are giving him their money, but they are. I am not a fan of what's happening in the New York situation. I don't like political prosecution, but the system is doing what it's doing. And he is not getting treated any differently from an appeal standpoint than anyone else. When there's a money judgment and an appeal, you've got to put up the money. When there's a money judgment and you want to appeal it, you've got to put up the money that has been judged against you to appeal. And one of the ways that we do it is you got to go through a bonding company that guarantees it'll be paid. So you go to the bonding company, you pay them, and they put up a document that says, hey, if this appeal fails, we're going to write a check over to so and whoever this is, and you'll be paid, based off that. So it's not as complex and or as simple. If he had the money, if he does have the money, he should just write a check and a bonding company will put it up. What they're telling me is he really doesn't have that cash. And I can't imagine by Monday he's got it. It doesn't look like the court's going to reduce it. So as a result of that, I think he's going to run the gauntlet of letting Letitia James chase him around New York City trying to take his property. The one downside I'll say about that is there may be people who are so offended she's going after him, they now come to his aid. I want to recommend some research to everybody. I want everybody to go research what happened in Burma and India during World War II. When the British warned the Indian citizens of India that the Japanese were on the way and we need to prepare to fight. And the people from India said, listen, the way y'all have been treating us, why would we fight with y'all? The way you've oppressed us, why would we help you with someone else that's coming after you? Well, the Japanese invaded and took over. And then they started to butcher the people in India. And suddenly they said, wait a minute. We didn't expect this. Well, I look at that kind of with Trump. If this man gets back in office, it is going to be horrendous, the things that he's going to do, because now he knows how to go about doing it. And he'll be lame duck from day one. He can't run again. You can only be elected to be president twice. This would be his second election. So he'll be lame duck immediately and have no conscience about the things that he may do at that point in time. I want you to go research that and think about how that may play itself out in this next election. Listen, y'all, want to appreciate everybody for calling in and listening to the show. Want you to hang around. So Money Michelle, you should come on a little bit later. But, we want to get this information out to you all as early as we can. So her show is going to follow my show today, and hopefully you all can listen in. If you've got a young student, it's never too early to start preparing for how you're going to pay for college. It's like buying another house, but it's doable if you plan, and there's a lot of money out there, and she helps get that information out. So hang around for that part of the show. And by the way, I want you to have a great rest of your weekend. Be safe, be merry, but most of all, be back here next Saturday. See you then.